doesn't love a good hack? I love a good hack, whether it's for mom stuff or business stuff or reselling stuff, a home organization. I love a good hack. And so I never really thought of it as a hack before, but there's something that I do every single year that I guess has helped me hack my reselling business where I get more done in less time, or a hack that helps me make more money. So I actually have a list. I'm going to go through these. This is one of those where I'm going to look down at my notes because I have at least 16 here. There might be a few more that squeak in, but I have 16, we're going to call them hacks, to help you either make more money as a reseller or work less as a reseller. So that's the goal. It's only a hack if you make more money or if you do less work. Download your free reseller resource guide today. I constantly update and share with you discounts, favorites, tools, and resources to help you with your reselling business. After the video, click the link in the description and get your totally free guide today. I do this exercise every year, usually over the summer, where I kind of take more of a break of things. I still do stuff, but I take a bigger break. And I say, okay, last year I made X amount of money. The last few years I've paid myself $60,000 or more. So it's a full-time job. My business is usually, in the 200 range of revenue, but I pay for a storage unit and I have a virtual assistant and I've had photographers. And so I have a lot of expenses maybe you don't have. So I'm usually doing 200 and something in revenue. I'm paying myself about 60, usually 60 to 80. And so how can I, that's what I did the year before, every year I'm thinking, how can I either work less and make that same amount of money, or how can I make more money doing the same work I'm doing now? Those are the two things that I focus on. And over the summer, I just kind of I put it for a weekly reminder on my phone to just think about it. If I'm driving, I think about it. If I'm in the shower, I think about it. What are some ways that I could make more money and do the same amount of time working, or work less and earn the same amount of money? It's on top of mind. I suggest that you actually do the same thing. Whether it's once a month you think about this or once a year you think about this, put it on your calendar and say, how can I make more money or work less going forward? So, is there a small tweak that you can make? And many of these are small tweaks and they add up. So, and the thing for me too is, I'm sorry, I'm reviewing my notes. So because I've done this over a couple of years, it gets harder and harder. So you can use my list. And if, let's say, you made all these tweaks, you would probably see a significant either lessen in the amount of time you spend working or increase in your money, because you're going to put them all into play for the first time, maybe even all at once. Whereas for me, I've done little tweaks over the course of a few years. And so now it's like, how much else can I tweak? I've got a lot of it dialed in. So if you haven't done any of these, stick around because I have a lot for you. Maybe you've done a few of these, or maybe you're like me and it gets harder and harder, and maybe you'll find one and you can tell me about it, and maybe you'll find one on my list that I'm telling you about, and we can help each other. But I encourage you to try. So the first thing though I will say is make a change, then let it work and work it into your routine until it's not new anymore. And then you're ready for your next one. Don't do them all at once. Do a change, let it work, let it become normal, and then you do a new change. If you did one change per month over the course of a year, that's 12 changes that you could have made that either made you work less or earn more, or both. So it could really transform your business. All right, let's get enough of that. I just had all these notes. Okay, can you save yourself 5 minutes per day? Now this is general. You're like, Rebecca, but they get better. Can you save yourself 5 minutes per day? If you did that over the course of a week, that's 35 minutes. Over the course of a month, that's like 2 hours. So over the course of a year, that's 24 hours. So that's a whole day. Is that right? I don't know. I hate math. So the point is, could you challenge yourself to save yourself 5 minutes a day? Right now, I bet you're wasting 5 minutes somewhere in your business. Now, I'm probably wasting less than you because I try not to waste time all the time. So for you, it might be that it takes you long to do your photos and you could shave off 5 minutes from your photos and that would save you the time. Or maybe right now you organize your closet, your Poshmark closet listings by color and style, which you guys know I think is silly. So if you spend 5 minutes a day doing that, if you stop doing that, you would save yourself 5 minutes a day. You go to the thrift store and you normally kind of like la 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 la, and you could shave off 10 minutes of your sourcing trip, but still come away with the same amount of items. You've saved yourself 10 minutes a day. So those are the kinds of things I'm talking about. So it's very general and it seems like that's stupid, but it's actually not. Because if you did it with photos and then you did it with sourcing and then you did it with listing and you just got a little bit better each time, you would have more time at the end of the day. And you could use it to put into your business in another way, or you could take a break, have an ice cream cone, watch a show on Netflix, play a board game with your kid, take the dog for a walk, whatever it is, do that and have then that downtime, because sometimes as resellers and business owners, we don't get that downtime. So sometimes it's about working less and sometimes it's about making more. So that one was about working less. Can you make $1 per sale more? So I talk a lot about raising your ASP. I talk a lot about leveling up your items and all of that. And people will give me some backlash about how that's, good for you, Rebecca, but I can't do that and this and that. Can you just raise each sale by $1 more? What could you do to do that? Could it be that you raise all of your items $5 so that you'll end up at $1 higher on your sale? That someone, counters you or sends you a low ball offer and you counter, but instead of countering at 20, you counter at 21. So you end up with $1 more. Like, what could you do in your business to earn $1 more per sale? If you do 3 to 5 sales a day, that's an extra $3 to $5 a day. If you do that over the course of a month, so let's say it's $5 a day times 30 days, that's $150. $150 at the end of the month if you just got $1 more per sale. So again, some of these are very simple, very basic things. But if you just kind of chewed on it a little bit, mulled around about it, you might be able to implement them. And if you saved yourself 5 minutes a day and you made $1 extra per sale, now you've worked less and you earned more at the same exact time. So there's more of these that are more specific, but those were 2 really general ones because everyone could figure out a way to do that. So the next one is, can you add a category of boutique items, or could be thrifted items, but here I have in my notes boutique items, to earn sales with minimal work? So I've done a few videos, as well as you guys know I have my profitable Poshmark boutique course, which is bundled in that best value bundle for $20, so you can get everything. But I do believe in boutique. I believe in selling thrifted and boutique items. And on average, every month, I get anywhere from $500 to about $1,500 in boutique sales. And I'm not doing boutique listings every month. I don't place an order every month. I used to place more frequent orders. Now, because I have so many good sellers, I'm mostly just restocking them. And I'm not adding new SKUs frequently. I just ordered a big bunch. So now I have a big bunch of new SKUs to go in, and then that will last me for a while. I don't like to go crazy with it because you want to see if they sell, you want to see if they work. But let's say that you're not selling any boutique items and you just added one category. Let's say you're into earrings. You want to buy maybe 10 SKUs of earrings and you add that into your Poshmark closet, and let's say you're not selling any earrings at all. This is adding one category, all the same kind, but maybe a few kinds of SKUs, and that could end up making you an extra $100 a month, $50 a month, depending on how many you add up. Start small, don't overdo it because you're learning. Follow all the tips and tricks in my course if you choose to get it. But adding that one SKU or adding that one category as you learn it over time and add more SKUs in it could add up to thousands of dollars extra in your closet. And because if you do it in boutique, let's say you just added earrings that weren't boutique, like you went to thrift stores, bought a bunch of earrings and sold them. Okay, so you're taking photos, you're listing it, you're selling, you're taking photos, listing it, selling. It's one off. If you did it with boutique though, you would get all that revenue, but you'd be doing less work because you're only doing the listing once, you get to sell it 10 times or whatever. So adding a boutique category could significantly add some sales to your bottom line and some money with minimal work. I want to make you aware of the hottest, the best deal I have ever offered in my Rebecca the Reseller Academy. To find it, all you have to do is scroll all the way down to the bottom and you will find this right here. Hot deal, best value, all courses and digital downloads for life. This is it, friends. This is as good as it's going to get. I'm giving you everything I have in my academy, all the digital downloads, all the courses for just $20. The best part is if I create a new digital download going forward, you will get it absolutely free. This is the time to lock in the best deal I have ever offered. All you have to do is go to Rebecca the Reseller Academy, scroll down to Hot Deal, and purchase it for $20. If you're wondering what comes in this, it's everything. So you're going to get all of my courses, and you're also going to get all of the digital downloads that I've created, including my keywords list, my listing forms, my Poshmark closet signs. Everything that I have created and everything that I ever will create will be yours for literally $20. Can you hire a photographer? It sounds like a big undertaking, and it can be. Like, I hire strangers usually. But you might not have to hire a stranger. Maybe you have a teenager in your house that you could hire and get a photographer, and that would save you time while still helping you make more money. Or maybe you hire a friend's kid or somebody that you know. And so it doesn't have to be as big of an operation as I've had to deal with, because I don't have anybody with older kids that I can ask. So it's always been a stranger, some stay-at-home mom in the area that I hire to take photos in my house or at her house. I've done it both ways. So I have a lot of experience with hiring photographers. I've had several, some have been better than others. Most of them, it's like they move and that's why they stop, or maybe the husband doesn't want them working anymore because, now all of a sudden she's not paying attention to all his every need or whatever. But, it's like, it's hard to hire a stranger. It's more involved. So if you don't want to deal with that, I get that. But if you could hire somebody where you don't have to worry about trusting them and like all of that, and you could just have them come to your house and you show them what to do and then they just do it for you, it would be amazing. It would be a huge time saving for you. You could spend that time listing, or you could spend that time sourcing. You can spend that time doing housework that you've been neglecting because you've been reselling all the time. Like, whatever needs to get done, you have that ability if you hire extra hands. And if it's someone maybe you don't need to pay him that much. If it's your own kid, maybe just, say, hey, I'll take you to the mall when you want. No questions asked, but you have to take my photos, like whatever you work out. I let you live here for free, so you should take my photos, which is what I'm going to tell Gio when he's old enough. When he's old enough to take photos. Right now, he's short. He's only 8. So he's too short to take the photos. But as soon as he's tall enough, he is totally taking photos for me, and he's going to do it for almost free. I'm going to pay him, but like almost free, because I've let him live here for free for 8 years. So that's how that's going to go. Anyway, can you add automation to increase sharing and offers without any extra time on your part? So this is for all of you that don't have your Poshmark VA yet. Hello, this is your sign, blank, blank. So if you're sending offers yourself, if you're sharing yourself, that's a lot of time that you're spending, and you're not even doing it as much as you could if you had the automation. Like, a physical person is not going to be able to share 9,000 times a day. You just can't. But your bot can. And so if you only share 5,000 times a day, not only is that taking up your time, but you're also missing out on 4,000 shares a day. Whereas if your bot does it, boom, it just happens and you have to literally do diddly squat. So that's a get your time back and get extra productivity that you're not doing. And I feel like most of the people that go from, fine, Rebecca, you said to get Poshmark VA, I'm going to get it. Okay, I don't want to spend the $30, but okay. And then they come back and they're like, oh my God, I didn't know I could make sales every day. I've only been making a few sales a week, and now I'm making sales every day. Like, it could significantly affect your business. If you're somebody who's more dialed in like me and you're already using Poshmark VA, or you've got a lot of your things going, something like that's not going to make a big influence. But if you're only sharing 5,000 times a day with Poshmark VA and now you're going to share 9,000 times, that could make a difference. So everyone's starting place is different, and that's why all of these tips and hacks are of different ranges, but you never know what's going to work for you or spark you. So add automation so that way you can add productivity without any extra time. Can you raise your ASP $5? So this is something that I do talk about regularly, and you might already be on a journey to do that because you've heard me say it in other videos. I used to sell $15, $20 items, and then I bumped up to selling $35 items, and then I bumped up to selling $50 items, and that's probably where I'll stay. I mean, I have items for more than 50, but 50 is a good price point for the kinds of things that I can easily get. If I could get better things at reasonable prices, then I maybe would have a higher ASP. But for what I'm doing right now, I found a sweet spot that works where I can get stuff at that price point. And so it all works out for me. But your situation might be a little bit different. But if you're at the $15 to $20 sales price and you go shop at the bins, stop picking up the tank tops and pick up the long sleeve silk blouses. You know, pick up the dresses only. Don't also pick up the shorts. So it's a matter of saying no to certain things and then yes to certain things. That's how you raise your ASP. You do leave money on the table sometimes, but you're saying, I'm choosing to put my work into a $30 item. If you want to raise your ASP $5, it all starts with what you're putting in your closet, and what you say no to matters as much as what you say yes to. So mull on that, think about that. Maybe you're going to raise it 10, maybe you're going to raise it 3. Whatever you decide, try to raise it a little bit, incremental stuff. Can you hire a virtual assistant? This is a little bit more involved. It doesn't have to be hard, but it is a little more involved. You need to think about some things. I've put many videos up on my channel about hiring a virtual assistant. I have a VA hiring bundle with like checklists and job descriptions and stuff like that that can help you. I found my VA on Upwork. She's been with me like 6 years now. So you can, you know, I've had others that haven't lasted that long, but like she's been with me 6 years. So you might get lucky and get a good one. You might not, and might have to go through 2 or 3. But the idea of having a virtual assistant, someone who is inexpensive because likely they're abroad, mine is in the Philippines. And so a livable wage for her is very reasonable for me to pay in my reselling business. And I've paid her lots of money and I've paid her little bits of money depending on how much work she's doing. And it depends on how my sales are going. And so I've hired her for extra projects, less projects. Sometimes she even helps me with like scheduling my social media posts. So if you find someone that you can trust in a virtual manner, you can then employ them into all kinds of things that can be helpful to you. And you don't have to get somebody that's abroad, but that's the cheapest way. You could get someone that's US based, and that's possible too. So it might be that you don't do it all at once, but it might be that you start thinking about, could you have a virtual assistant? And then you say, okay, well, I'm going to go on and try to hire somebody and have them just do a test run with 5 listings. And you just kind of slowly work your way into it. But if you do get someone that does all your listings for you, what a blessing it is. What a blessing. I mean, lit drafts, I'm pointing to this computer here because this is the one that she logs in on sometimes and the one that I run my bot on. But she logs in, you know, Philippines is the opposite time zone. You know, it's like 12 hours. So in my morning, 6 a.m. is her 6 p.m. and she'll log in and do listings so that, you know, I have the listings ready to go when I wake up or whatever. So a virtual assistant can really help. And if you've been thinking about it, this might be the year that you start doing it. I have nothing but good things to say about the process of doing it, and I highly encourage you to do it. Next one is, can you add 1 super high-end item per month to your inventory? So this is kind of along the lines of the ASP thing, but if you don't want to think about it in dollar amounts, just say, I'm going to try to find 1 designer item every month and add it to my store. Over the course of a year, you will have added 12. Hopefully, over the course of a year, you will have sold some of them, and that can be a nice little bump to your bottom line. If that goes well, that may be something that you try to replicate more. So the goal here with these hacks is to start with something small, something incremental, and then if it works for you, ramp it up. So if you can find 1 designer item per month and that's going well and you're making an extra $100 every time you sell one of them, then try to add 2 per month. If you can do 2 per month, then you can do 5 per month. And so that's how you change a business, is from small incremental changes that you realize it's working and then you double down on them. That's how I did it with the $35 items. That's how I went up to $50 items. I doubled down on the fact that, hey, if I could find $35 items, I could find $50 items. And if I'm only listing $50 items, then I'm only selling those kinds of items. So it helps with the progression. Next is, can you hire someone to ship for you? Now, I like the shipping. To me, it's relaxing, it's fun, I don't mind it. I feel like a little Christmas elf when I do shipping. So like, to me, that's not something that I necessarily need to have someone to do. But I will tell you, when I had someone that I was a photographer, then she, when I was doing a lot of thread up, which I'm not anymore, but when I was doing a lot of thread up, she would help me pack my thread up boxes and deal with all the reclaims that came back and stuff. So she was kind of more like a warehouse manager, shipper kind of person. So when I would go on vacation, she would ship for me because I was already paying her to do stuff for me anyway. So that was nice to have someone ship for you on a daily basis while you're on vacation. That's great, because then your business really does run without you. So if you're someone that vacations often, or just it's hard for you to do the shipping, maybe physically or something, you may want someone to do the shipping for you, and that could help run your business and free you up. But for me, now that I don't have her anymore, I don't mind doing the shipping. So you kind of just have to see. And for me now, even when I go on vacation, I kind of push the shipping boundaries because I have so many shipments under my belt and the ship time is so good that I can go on a week's vacation and just message the person. If they're okay with it, I don't ship it till I get back and everything is fine. But when you're new, it's harder to do that because you really want that ship time to be, like 1 day or 2 days. Poshmark VA is a tax-deductible business investment that pays for itself many times over each month. It increases Poshmark sales because it shares and sends offers more than I ever could manually. It handles all my shares, automatic offer to likers, bulk offers, and it can do price drops and relists. When my coaching clients add Poshmark VA, it makes more sales basically immediately. The best part is that you get your time back. More time with family, thrifting, whatever. Get 20% off with code Rebecca the Reseller and the link below. So, next one, can you find one new source per month? So if sourcing is your problem, you may want to spend more time on sourcing hacks than you do on listing hacks. So a sourcing hack could be that you're canvassing your area to identify more honey holes, more thrift stores, more mom and pop thrift stores. Maybe you widen your radius. So instead of just going within a 10-minute radius of Goodwills, maybe you venture out and certain days you'll drive 30 minutes to a Goodwill and that expands your radius. Maybe you add in, if a bins Goodwill outlet is 2 hours away, you add one bins trip in a month where you used to only go quarterly, but now you're going to go once a month and try to figure out how to make it happen. But the other thing is, could be online. Maybe you've never tried Helpsy Source before, but now you're going to buy a box from Helpsy Source. And then once you realize it's awesome, then you're going to go and do that once a month. So everyone has different sourcing things that they can dip into, and it's different for everyone. So the other thing I would recommend on this is to create a sourcing calendar. So if you like rummage sales and garage sales and things like that, like I know when the big garage sales are in my area, I know when the good rummage sales are in my area, I know when the church thrift stores are open in my area. I don't go to all of them because for me, it's not really worth my time anymore. I buy my pallet, I call it a day. But if I was sourcing that way, I would be running that calendar all the time and I would be adding new things to it. My sister does sourcing that way where she goes to all the things and she knows exactly when and where to go and what days to go where, and she's got it down to a science. She's a really good thrifter picker person, and so she's got it down. And so if you don't have it down, you should try to get it down. Add one new source per month until you get such a schedule for yourself that you have the best options to pick the best stuff in your area. That way you're not tied into, well, I went to the thrift store and I needed 50 items to list, and so I had to buy 50 items. Not if you have a really good sourcing calendar, because on Thursday you can go here for half off day and this rummage sale's coming up next month. You always get 3 IKEA bags full of stuff, and you'll have more options and you can be more picky. So can you add an online source, one item, or a bulk box? So that's what I meant by that. So we'll mush those two together. Can you add one more listing to your daily routine? So this is something I've talked about in my 3 levers video, in that really there's only 3 levers of things that you can manage. You can raise your ASP, you can raise your productivity, which means more listings, or you could raise your sell-through rate. And so those are 3 things that you can do and that you have control over. And in that video, I go over all specifically how to do that. This particular hack is saying add 1 listing to your daily routine. Just 1. So when you're sourcing, if you normally source 21 items because you list 3 a day, you need to source 28 items. So you source 28 items and then you list 1 more per day, which means when you photograph, now you're photographing 7 more, however you do it, whether it's per day or all at once. And then when you list, instead of listing 3 a day, you list 4 a day. This is probably a work more kind of thing, to make more money thing, because over time, that really changes the face of your business. If you're adding 7 new listings a week over the course of a month, that's almost 30 listings. And so every month that is going to add up to really help your sell-through, or not your sell-through, but help your listing pool, your number of active listings. Hopefully your sell-through goes up and carries through with it. But even if it doesn't, you're building up the amount of chances you have to make a sale every single day. And that helps you make more money. Now, if you can add that listing in without it taking up a lot more time, then that's really good. And that would be the best way that you could do it. So when you're sourcing, instead of going to another place to get those 7 items, just find 7 more items quickly in the time that you're already at that source. That doesn't add up to a lot of time. Photographing, let's say it takes you 3 minutes to photograph an item and bag it up and everything you need to do, which is about my average or less, you're adding 20 minutes to your week. But if you could shave off those 5 minutes a day, like we talked about at the beginning, it's not going to add that much extra time. So again, this is really nitty gritty. This is really granular stuff. This may not be your thing. This is how I get so much done. It's because I do dial this stuff in. I do think about the nitty gritty. It may not be in your nature. Like, it is in my nature to think about this stuff. I just can't help it. It just kind of comes to my mind. Not everybody is like that, and that's okay. But I'm here to push you and to challenge you. That's what a Poshmark coach does. That's what I do. And I want you to try to get uncomfortable, get into the nitty gritty, and say, I'm going to figure out how to source 7 more items this week. I can do it. And I'm going to do it without it costing me a lot more time, so I can grow my business without working more. And so that's what we're trying to do. Next one is, can you add a new platform? So if you've been thinking about it, maybe this is your sign. I don't believe in adding platforms like crazy, especially in the beginning. I think you need to get good at one. And since mostly I talk about Poshmark, I think that should be your one. It's the easiest one out there. Get good at Poshmark. Get your photos good, get your listings good, get everything dialed in, get your process down, be making decent money and reliable sales. Then get Vendu. My links and my discounts and everything are in the Reseller resource guide. Get Vendu and cross-post to Mercari next. Then once you get good with that, and I have a Mercari course, it's in the best value bundle. You can get that for $20. You get access to all my courses. Then once you found success on Mercari, and that course that I did challenges you in just 10 minutes a day, you can make an extra 10K per year with Mercari. And that's what I was doing. I was actually making more when I created that course. So that's kind of the goal, is with very minimal amount of time, you add in this platform that gives you so much more opportunity for sell-through with very little time investment, and you make buckets of money. So let's say you were only on Poshmark, and in 10 minutes a day, you follow my course, you make an extra 10K on Mercari, boom, 10K on Mercari. That's crazy. Then if you add eBay, that's a little bit of a different story because it is more involved. But now you're at that point where you're like, okay, this is really what I'm doing. And I'm going to bring eBay in and it's all going to be great. So adding a new platform could really do it. Adding a new sales generating activity. So most of the people that I talk to on this channel, you're already doing offer to likers. You may not be doing it the way I say, although I think you should. I have a very specific way, progressive and aggressive, also utilizing the waterfall strategy. But let's say you have that dialed in. You followed my advice to the letter and you're already doing that. But I bet you're not using my shoppers the way I'm using it. I bet you're not doing a price dropping strategy like I'm doing. And so there are more sales generating activities that you can layer on to what you've already dialed in to make another incremental amount of money. So let's say that you did my shopper strategy and you implemented that once a quarter, which is generally speaking what I recommend. And every time you made $250 in sales. That's an extra $1,000 just by layering in that strategy alone. Maybe you make $500 extra when you do. I mean, usually when I do it, it could be like a $700 day. I mean, I don't know if I've done 1,000. It's rare for me to do 1,000, to be honest with you, in one day. I just don't. But I could have a $700 day on a My Shoppers day for sure. So, and I've done that. So I think that could be an easy model for you to try to add in. I have 2 videos on My Shoppers. One is like what not to do and one is what to do. And they both work together, so I'd watch them both. So that would be a really good idea. Adding in one new sales generating activity layered on top of everything else that you're already doing if it's dialed in. Okay, and then the other one is, and I have 2 more. One, can you revise 5 listings per day? So revising a listing, most of the time I mean adding keywords. Most of the time that's what you need to be doing. Now there are people that need to revise their listings and fix their photos. There are people that need to revise their listings and create a listing template and like go through the whole thing, like kind of like what I do in Poshmark listing critiques or in my Poshmark closet reviews or in coaching calls. Like when I get into the nitty-gritty of somebody's listing, sometimes you need to do all these kinds of things. Right now, I'm just saying, let's assume all your photos are good and generally speaking, your listing template is good. What could you do incrementally as a hack to increase your sales with a minimal amount of work? I would venture to say that if you had 5 minutes, maybe the 5 minutes that you saved on the beginning, that very first hack that we talked about, save 5 minutes a day, if you reallocated that 5 minutes to adding keywords to listings you already have, I would argue that would make you more money. So you'd have a time savings, but then you'd also make more money. Because if you added the word wool to a listing that you had that was red coat, and now you forgot to write wool, and so now you add red wool coat, now you'll come up in Susie's search for red wool coat, but you didn't come up for Susie's search when she tried it the other day because you didn't have wool in your title or description. So adding, 3 to 5 keywords per listing that apply for 5 minutes could help significantly increase your sales because now you're widening the amount of searches that your listings could come up in. And this is one of those law of diminishing returns. Like if you're somebody that has pretty good keywords already, and let's say you just add one here and there, it's not going to do wonders for your closet, but it might help a little bit. But if you're somebody who knows very little about keywords and you're just writing cute dress in your title, then adding lots of keywords will significantly increase your sales because now all of a sudden you're coming up in all of these searches that are not cute dress. So revising listings is a good one. The last one is, can you relist 10 items per day? Now hear me out on this because everybody does relisting in a different way. I utilize relisting in a very specific way. I've talked about it on my channel. I do it every day, and my VA just relists 10 items using the Vendu bulk feature. And every day 10 items are getting relisted, and she just cycles through the whole closet. So, if I have 100 listings and she does 10 a day, over 10 days, everything's going to get relisted. That's not what I have. I have over 1,000, but let's just say. So usually every 3 months or so, my whole closet gets relisted because she's just going in, down the line. So I think relisting in that way is good. I also use relisting to cover the periods where I'm not listing. So if I'm taking off during the holidays or over the summer, or I just want a no sourcing month or whatever it is, I use listing or relisting to cover the fact that I'm not putting new listings up in my closet. And so you can use it either way. I believe though that everybody, even if you're doing new listings, should relist a certain portion of their listings every day just for extra activity, extra freshening up. It just kind of all works together. And so if you relisted, let's just say 10 items a day, and that got you to relist your closet every couple of months, I think that could significantly increase your sales, especially if you're not doing it at all. Maybe you're relisting, but you're not doing it every day. Maybe it won't impact it as much. But if you're not doing it at all, relisting 10 items or whatever number you come up with every day as a best practice could be a really good game changer for you, because you're not doing any other work other than the relisting. And if you use Vendoo, it's like super fast and easy. It's 30 seconds, you know, it doesn't take hardly any time at all. So I think relisting is a really good incremental opportunity to make more sales as well. So this was just a list. I'm pretty sure it was 16. I'm not sure. If you have any other hacks to save time or increase the money that you make as a reseller, leave them in the comments below so we can all learn from each other. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you make more money in less time, and I'll see you next time. Bye.